All right, folks, we are live. So, guys, 恭喜发财. Today I think is the eve. Or is it yesterday was the eve? No, I think today is the first day. Yeah, sorry. Being Chinese, sometimes you forget. This is the Lunar New Year, guys. It seems to be very good. It seems to be very bullish. I think right now the whole market is just rising very, very quickly. There are things that I want to cover today very quickly for those who are obviously holding altcoins, BTC, Ethereum. Everything is on the rise, guys. There's like if you were to just throw one stone anywhere, more often than not, you'd be making money. Okay, so we're in that scenario at the moment. It's a very good feeling, but like I said, I think if we are in a super ultra bull cycle, and ironically, right now, we are in a we are doing pretty well. In terms of market cap, we are at what, $1.4 trillion, and we seem to be holding, keeping my fingers crossed. At the same time, you're looking at BTC attempting to push the 50K mark. But you know what? I think everyone is not really too concerned about exposure. In fact, everyone's throwing their money more and more and buying positions higher and higher. But I'm going to share the strategy that I'm doing, or I'm incorporating at least. For now, I'm taking bites into the market. I'm not too pleased buying higher and higher, right? And hoping that I can sell higher. What I'm actually doing is I'm still building positions. I'm not like completely away from the market. What I have are the positions that I have been in the money. They're deep in the money. And in the event there's a 50% correction or retracement because of BTC taking a 20 to 30% retracement, the altcoins will definitely take a hit 50% and above. So in terms of my mentality, or where I'm at in terms of how I manage my exposure, I always tell myself, when levels are pushing up higher and higher, I want to sell into strength. I don't want to compromise and have a weightage in my portfolio that can pull down my whole gains, or pull down my gains. I hope that kind of makes sense. So give you a quick example. So in every portfolio, there should be a core holding. That core holding can be BTC or BTC Ethereum, or BTC or Ethereum, depending on where you're at, right? So that's the core holdings. The core holdings are generally untouched, as they say. It's only building towards having more of BTC or having more of Ethereum. So that's quite clear cut. However you decide to accumulate, may it be using fiat, buying on dips, or using profits and buying into the current prices, right? It doesn't matter, right? Because end of the day, you are stacking. That's a long-term call. It doesn't matter how it performs. It doesn't matter whether it drops 20, 30% to even 50%. It is not the issue. You are dollar cost averaging consistently with either fiat. So fiat can be from your salary or income in general, or profits from trading this market, or profits from another asset class, another market, and into Bitcoin or Ethereum specifically. So that's quite straightforward. Now, the next thing is trading in general. When technical analysis wise, if you're looking at charts these days, 1 hour, 4 hours seems to be the go-to time frame that everybody is looking at. Every trader, every single time there is a correction or a retracement, profit taking, as you say, the 1 hour to 4 hours is like holding very well, which of course concerns me, because when the 1 hour and 4 hours, when you look at the 1 hour, 4 hours time frame, and you look at the moving averages on the 1 hour and 4 hours, you will notice that every time it falls down to the so-called moving average, it will always bounce back up. So it seems like, wow, you cannot get it wrong. It seems like you're always correct. So I would say that we don't want to take this scenario for granted. We will continue to have exposure. We will continue to trade the market, right? But there will be no all-in situations. There will not be any aggressive exposure hoping to have a breakout. Okay, we're obviously trading for breakout, sorry. But what I'm just trying to say is that you cannot allocate too much into a particular trade at this point of time. There is no cryptocurrency at this point of time that is showing a nice consolidation on the 1 day and above. Every single cryptocurrency has gone parabolic. Like whatever that's on my watch list now has already done 5x or more. There are some cryptocurrencies that have slightly done less than 5x, but that goes to show why aren't they getting the same amount of attention. So it always boils down to the segment. So DeFi was the leader coming into 2021. But DeFi is kind of taking a break at the moment, and it's shifting towards interoperability, lending. It could potentially even, well, I mean, DeFi, obviously there's DEX and then there's lending, right? And the yield farmers and yield mining. But when you look at the shift, right now it seems like the smart contracts that are non-Ethereum based, right? Non-ETH based seems to be getting a little bit of attention. Now, I don't know whether the privacy segment has been doing pretty well where you have the XMR, PIVX, but I guess, you know, when the tide comes in, all boats rise. Okay, that's kind of like what I'm seeing at the moment. Like, does it mean that fundamentally we are, you know, shifting gears or whatever? I don't think we can even assess that properly or validate that in any way. I would just say that the whole market is bullish. Everybody wants to get in, and that's what's happening at the moment. So right now, in terms of trades, it's all very short-term swing trades. Like literally, you can make 15 to 20% very quickly. Now, obviously, these numbers are not like guaranteed. At this point, when you're watching this video, past performance is not an indicative of future returns. So I would say that a lot of the market is just very, very hot, guys. It's good. You know, you want to have consistent exposure, but I feel that you always want to also pull back and hold back the capital in the event that you have a proper retracement. When I mean proper retracement, I'm not talking about 10%, 15%. Now, obviously, another school of thought, Ryan, you've been wrong. You were saying that, you know, the markets are going to crash. Right now, we are pushing 50K. You look like an idiot, Ryan. But I think that's not the point. The point is managing exposure. I cannot make a prediction of how high or where we're going to go. Neither can I make a prediction whether or not we're going to go down, right? Or we're going to go down drastically. It is very hard. If anybody can actually tell you where are we gonna be in the next 1 week to 3 months to 6 months, right? That guy probably is a god, right? So that's the thing. You can get certain calls correct, but I've always made this statement to my group. I'm always short-term wrong, long-term correct. Okay, that's what I always tell my group. I'm always short-term wrong, but long-term correct. So that's the most important, right? Like, for example, I got myself to take profit rather aggressively and have less exposure in the market prior to Chinese New Year. Okay, that has been a wrong move, because had I left the positions running as they are, I would make 50% on top of my stack. 50% more, guys, just by leaving it for 2 weeks. Let's just 2 weeks, I made 50% more. But what is the thought process behind that? In the event that I get that strategy correct, and we do experience a correction, I would have more ammunition to re-enter at better entry points. I think there's nothing wrong with that, with that thought process, right? And same thing, right now, I'm a little less aggressive in terms of taking profit. I'm letting more things run. Why am I able to do that? Because right now, whatever that is running is pure profit. You see, whatever that is running at this point of time, in terms of whatever exposure, in terms of altcoins, core portfolio side, everything is all profit. So I really don't have to worry if there is a massive correction in the market for whatever reason, right? Whether is it regulation, whatever you want to call it, some kind of DEX compromise, the code isn't right, you know, all the usual stuff that always harms our market, or at least causes our market to pull back, we are all good. You know what I mean? And if you have already decided, okay, Ryan, I am not really requiring so much of this capital. I want to retain some, but I want to have, say, 60% to 70% exposure compared to whatever you're saying. That's all good. That's on you, because your risk profile may be different from my risk profile. Your time horizon, the way you are planning your financial goal is very, very different. So kind of like that's how you want to strategize where you see yourself in the market, or how much exposure you want to have yourself in the market. But other than that, guys, everything is hunky-dory. I don't think I need to kind of tell you the charts, because to be honest, when you speak about the charts at this point of time is quite it's not that fantastic to discuss about it, because it's just bullish. High goes higher, there seems to be no wrong at the moment, right? So no point going into charts specifically. But I think overall we talk about the macro picture. Macro picture is very, very bullish. But I always want to remind folks, right, especially those who follow, right, who actually have some sense of managing a portfolio, or at least understanding what I'm talking about at this point in time, and not just trading and just throwing money blindly into the market. At some point, you need to ask yourself, can this parabolic movement sustain? Is it sustainable? That's all. Everybody wants to answer that. Everybody wants to have that question answered at some point of time, and you have to ask yourself that question, right? Dominance, if it goes below 60%, that's very, very good. And of course, altcoins continue to push further upwards. But yeah, why are we pushing, guys? We got to ask ourselves, like, why are we pushing? Like, yeah, you have your cheap liquidity, you have lots of stimulus checks that are not being used by the folks who don't need it, right? And at the same time, interest rate environments are lower, hence there's more disposable income to perhaps put into asset classes, for example, collectibles, or just trading the markets in general, into the stock market, into the crypto markets, or any other market that is showing strong growth. That's the general reaction that everybody wants to do, because they don't want to have so much cash on hand, and at the end of the day, that cash is obviously doing nothing, right? So there is that dilemma. When you have so much cash on hand, what do? You know what I mean? So this is the scenario when I'm meeting people. I'm meeting a lot of new folks who have never ventured into crypto before. They have a lot of cash sitting at the sidelines, and the traditional markets don't really excite them anymore. They're looking for a new market. So you're seeing a lot of new folks with deeper pockets get interested in the space, which is good, right? Hence, the education part is very, very important. The overall understanding of risk is very, very important. And why even build a portfolio within crypto is very important, right? So all these things have to be in line with your, with what you're planning to do, right? And once you have that in place, that strategy in place, then you start building around this market. And of course, this market should also supplement or at least complement the rest of your other stuff. Maybe your stock portfolio, maybe your collectibles portfolio, maybe part of your property, right? Property is always very stable. Hence, you want to have perhaps some volatility in that to create a higher alpha in your portfolio. That's also possible. But anyway, guys, kind of like that's really it. I'm always very consistent about my message. Is like I said, the market is always changing and evolving. Segments are always changing, but I think the sentiment in terms of managing your portfolio is quite straightforward all the time. All right, guys. So like I said, continue to build safely, and of course, think about retaining your gains and not throwing the gains back in all the time, right? Always learn to retain and at the same time realize your profits into things that you love and enjoy, right? Take care. See you guys, and 恭喜发财